Is this easy enough?
Here we go. And I believe we're live. Maybe. There we go. We're live.
All right, cool.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have with me Anastasia Papanikolaou. Okay, I totally butchered that. Can you please say it and also introduce yourself because I'm so thrilled. I know you're an incredible holistic practitioner, but there's so many different things you do. So I'd rather you share a bit about, yeah, your work.
Yeah, so you were super close, so close.
Okay.
Papa Nicolau.
Okay.
It's a tough one because it's so long, so it's tough. So yeah, hi everybody. I've been practicing for 26 years. Lots and lots of different holistic modalities. And um, Maria, do you want me to go into some of them now?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Um, so I did start my journey with Reiki 26 years ago. It was one of the first things that I studied. And I do love Reiki. I've added to my Reiki repertoire. So I do Dragon Reiki now. Just really calling in helpers that are in the dragon realm that you can think of them like angels. So they're guides and guardians, and they really help to show me where people are blocked or stuck in the body energetically, and they help um, to really guide that session for me as to what will be cleared and lifted. I work with a pendulum. I do something called super connection, and I'm the only practitioner in North and South America because most people that are trained in this are in England or in Europe or in China. So I use a pendulum to see where people are blocked, stuck, where they're carrying things, whether it's ancestral, this lifetime, vows, contracts, pain in their body, all sorts of things. It really covers a lot. It can work with grief patterns. It can work with people that are trying to make changes in their work situation or like having a career change. I mean, it's kind of all encompassing. So I love working with the pendulum because it gives me really clear information. It bypasses me trying to figure things out. And it also bypasses where people are truly, truly stuck. It just like goes to the heart of the matter. And I think, so I also do tapping, emotional freedom technique, if people are familiar with that. And I think the last thing, I do a bunch of things, but the last thing I'll share is flower essences. I make my own flower essences and I douse to do custom blends for people. And those are really gentle ways to, so I'll just show you. It comes in a little tincture bottle like this, and you take 2 to 3 drops, 2 to 3 times a day under your tongue, or you can put it in water. And the flowers work vibrationally and so vibrationally and with frequencies to help lift any stuck patterns. So again, emotional patterns, limiting belief systems, actual trauma that has happened, it can actually start to loosen and clear that. So that's great for people that like don't want to do a session and don't want to actually talk about their stuff, but they're really loaded down with things and they want a way or a tool to help them lift that.
Mm.
And I don't even do a consult like some people do. I know that may sound strange, but I douse, I use my pendulum to see what they need. And again, that takes me out of my brain. Like in a more traditional setting, you might be like, okay, anxiety. And then you go through the list of all your essences that help with anxiety. So I could do that, but when I grab my pendulum, it gives me a yes or a no, and it's so clear. So I don't even have to muck around with what my brain thinks you need. It's like, let's go to the source, honestly. It's like it connects me to that person's like connection to source. And so
Amazing.
I'll just leave it at that because I know we have a lot to talk about and
Yeah.
I love what I do, but for anyone listening, like whatever people are going through, after having a conversation, I'm able to figure out what they would best need. And I do hands-on work. Everything I just described I can do virtually, but I do hands-on work as well, and I didn't even mention that. But yeah.
Amazing. Um, so Anastasia is just such a light, and I'm so excited that she is joining this that you are joining this conversation. Um, I think one of the things we talked about, and I think a good place to start is so frequently as human beings just alive at this now in this time space reality, as some of our maybe spiritual guides would call it. um we have so much going on, there's so many demands, life is moving at an insane rate and seems to be getting faster with the advent of certain technologies. Our ability to multitask, right? Like it's both good and bad, because on the one hand we can technically perform at a higher level. And at the same time, physiologically, we're not really still wired for it. And it creates this discord in us. So there's emotions flying around. We frequently don't even have time to notice them. And especially now, and that's just the day-to-day life. That's not even dealing with any major life event, especially an all-encompassing life event. For example, you may have somebody who has a critical illness. You might have a child who has special needs, and they just might have a higher level of demand for support day to day than somebody who doesn't have those conditions. You might be going and navigating moving, or perhaps a career change, or looking for a new job, or of course, something that frequently you'll hear me talking about, which is separation or divorce, something that has a lasting impact on the remainder of your life and your family's life, and what that looks like. So now with something like that on top of the day to day, where we're already stretched thin, all of our responsibilities, work, etc., it can be so easy to be in a state of survival mode and not even notice how much we're carrying, what toll that's taking on our body, how we're feeling, what are the sensations, what are the emotions, because we are just go, 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 right? Perform, do, on to the next thing, on to the next thing, put out the next fire. And I will start us off briefly by sharing myself. So yesterday, I was going to a really lovely event ceremony, and I won't get into details around it, but I was excited and I was nervous and I was getting in my way. And Anastasia and I were going to touch base to talk about this conversation briefly. And I was going to put on my business hat and, like, yep, I promise this is going to be a 10-minute conversation. Let's get it done. And Anastasia was like, how are you? Where are you headed this morning? And what was fascinating, now, mind you, I'm somebody who's in this work. I've been doing this work on myself. I frequently tout how important it is for us to pay attention to our central nervous system, how it functions, what are the triggers, what are the signs our body is communicating to us. I fell into the trap, everybody. I hardcore walked right into the trap, and it knocked me on my butt because I didn't realize that I had all of this emotional residue, all of these layers of things that were floating around in my space. And Anastasia beautifully attuned right to it and very gently guided me through a conversation that I didn't even realize I needed. That instantly, I felt like, if you imagine like black smoke surrounding you, right? And we can all imagine, like, it doesn't feel good. You can't quite breathe clearly. There's like, you're sort of gasping, right? Like, it's uncomfortable. It just all left, right? Like, it just all drained out of the space. That's what it felt like. That's the best visual I can come up with to describe the experience. And again, I'm somebody who's very attuned to the fact that as human beings, this is a day-to-day reality for us, and it's so important to tend to this. And I got trapped in it because this isn't something that you undo. There's no level, I think, to this work where one day you're just done and you never have to worry about it and you never have to pay attention, right? It's a moment by moment phenomenon. Things happen. We're human beings. We have emotions. We have all of these responses that are firing throughout our body to protect us. And it is so critically important and incredible when we create the space and intentionally interact with the work that you do, Anastasia, to help us remove that residue, right? Just clear it out, like release it. And um, it's incredible. I felt so grounded. I felt so calm. I felt light, and I felt like my sunshiny essence like returned. Almost like, if you're if you're experiencing, like, we know the sun is out, right? It's daytime, but if it's cloudy, it can feel kind of murky. You're like, oh, I just want to be in bed. Like, you don't get the benefit of the energy. But then when the clouds part, you're like, oh, okay, I feel energized. It's sunny. Like, I'm happy. I'm more uplifted. And it's sort of like that. That's exactly what I experienced in the course of our conversation yesterday. And it was so gentle and light. And I almost didn't even realize that that's what was happening until it was happening. And then I'm like, whoa, I just had this amazing experience and I'm so grateful. So, this is just a name. This happens for all of us. So, Anastasia, what is it as you talk to so many people? I can only imagine how many people you've supported throughout the years. What is it that you find is usually their biggest kind of challenge or concern around giving themselves the space to tap into this work and take full advantage of the incredible resources that you have to offer them to walk their, live their best life, feel their best?
Yeah, that's a great question. And before I answer that, I want to give you kudos because when we talked yesterday, you were driving
I was
and you were
driving.
driving into the city.
True.
Um, which that to me is like nerve-wracking. And then you were trying to figure out parking. So the fact that you could be present in the conversation, which you were 100% present, and doing that other stuff, like that really um is very skillful. I just have to say, like,
Thank you.
normally, yeah, and this wasn't a session, but we sort of like kind of went into some kind of support, just organically. So normally people would be sitting at home or in the comfort of some place, right? Comfortably, not like navigating, but because you've done a lot of this work, Maria, like you could do that, which I just thought was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Really beautiful. And I do want to say too that for any of us doing this kind of work, I have found, I've not taken a poll, it's the hardest thing to do for ourselves.
Mm,
Even for me, like I was in it, I was in the weeds 3 weeks ago. It was really hard. There was a lot of stuff coming up, and I knew what some of it was, and other stuff was like buried. And I'm like, I really want to get at it. I want to dig and like release it. And
mhm.
it took however long it took, and I had to use different tools and I had to reach out to people because the truth is we can't always see, not that we can't see, but we can't always see what's in front of us. And for me, going back like in the beginning, and even now, like sometimes I'm like, I can name it, right? But there's so much to it. And it could be like an ancestral thing that I'm holding. Like maybe it's not just mine. A part of it's mine, but maybe there's a part of it coming through my ancestral lineage. Like my great great grandmother, was dealing with this also. I never met her. It was never spoken about, but she's carrying it too. But I equate it to like wearing like having a bag placed over you, and it's a black bag, it's pitch, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is pitch, you cannot see, like, so people need help. I mean, you asked like what's the biggest challenge. What is the biggest challenge? I think it depends. For some people, they just don't believe in the woo, like when I say I work with a pendulum and I'm gonna uncover like what emotion is stored in your body or trapped, like for some people it's that. Most people that I work with, people aren't typically going to come to me if they've had no experience with even like a massage or some kind of body work. I just don't attract those people because when they read the description, it's like, what the heck, right? So it's like, nope. So, gosh, it's such a good question. And I don't know that I've been, anyone's asked me that before, but I would say that, like, well, I guess the other thing is people may not believe that they can heal from X, Y, and Z.
Mm,
If you've been holding on to a pattern in your body, like even injury, some people are like, well, this is never going to go away. And that already is like a mindset. And I get it because they've had so many years of not having results or not having
yes.
it shift and move. And so and I've been there myself. Like there's this defeating energy that comes through, right? Because you're like, I've tried everything. And I've had even friends say that to me, like, I've tried everything. Like, why would this work? And I'm like,
Right? Because it's
like,
different.
yeah, and it doesn't hurt to try because
Right.
that's what I did. I was exploring, like, does this work for me? And not everything's gonna work for everyone.
Right. And even I would
So,
imagine different kinds of things may require just a different approach. So it's like just because something worked for you when you're navigating one thing doesn't mean as you're navigating something entirely different, right? Like the root cause, we talk about this a lot. I think sometimes, especially here in North America, we're really conditioned because a lot of our systems and environments that support us are do so in isolation, right? There's a specialist for this and a specialist for that. And all of it seems to be as if you can take, like, say, your heart, remove it from your body completely and only tend to that. Well, it doesn't work that way. We're an entire whole being, and our energy and our emotional states and everything works in tandem because a lot of it is there's like one kind of reaction or thing happening in your body, and it has a cascading effect that impacts everything else. Now, if you imagine that happening on a multitude of levels simultaneously, you can imagine how quickly all of that is intertwined. So that's just a reality that we have to not forget, regardless of how easily sometimes we are persuaded to put that to the side. So I think to your point, right? Like as you're navigating maybe a difficult season, maybe you're feeling insecure because like you're trying to get a, I don't know, a higher paying job or something different. There's like some transition perhaps, or some piece in your life, maybe around fulfillment, maybe around your identity that you're navigating. You may require a completely different approach, one you've never considered before, or one that has never worked for you before. Because it's a new game, it's a new ball game. So you need different tools and different skills to really address it. So I think that's one piece. And the other piece I just want to highlight in what you're saying, with regard to the mindset, and that sometimes, yes, we can definitely feel hopeless. I think there's a piece, and I've definitely been there, everybody. I've been on this journey for a long time. I've had a lot of stuff I've had to work through. There's a piece that I think we get mired into around our identity. Like, who am I if I don't have this challenge, if I'm not carrying this weight, if I don't have this ache, if I don't have this diagnosis, maybe, or, and it can be really difficult. It's sort of to a degree a version, like there's a piece of it that's sort of around like victimhood to a degree. This isn't about blaming. This isn't to say, you're asking for it, but it is a form of conditioning. And I do think it's really valuable to very brutally honestly distinguish how much of that we're carrying. And a lot of times these patterns we don't just develop out of the blue. We frequently pick them up from our environment. Sometimes it's passed down from our parents. I mean, realistically, again, I say this all the time. So sorry if you're sick of hearing me saying it, but we develop our blueprint by watching our caregivers and those we're most around and how they navigate life. So if that is what we've seen a lot, then that is frequently what we start to do, and we may not even realize it. So, and to your point, Anastasia, sometimes we need a third party neutral person to help us really distinguish that because it could be hard to do from inside of that experience, right? We only know what we know. And it can be easy to start taking things for granted because we've lived with them for so long that it can be easy to kind of neglect them and assume, well, that's just part of the landscape, when in reality, we get to have choice around that. So, yeah.
yeah. And the image I'm seeing, Maria, when you say that is like the old-fashioned bird cages where, well, I mean, bird cages, have the hole, like the hole, so obviously the animals can breathe. But it's like I've done this. I've put myself in a cage, right?
Yes.
Like I can see the outside, the door maybe even unlatched, but I only know what I know. And like
Yeah.
you were saying, like we take on that victim personality because
Yeah.
we've been in it so long. And that to me just speaks to it's a level of trauma,
Yeah.
it's not an
Absolutely.
unwillingness to shift and move, but it's again like I tried this and I tried this and I tried this and it's not
Yeah.
working. And it really, I do feel like there was a time in my life where I was like, I'm just gonna see what the flower essence does, or I'm just gonna go to chiropractic because
Yeah.
I was almost being like a detective, like what
Mhm.
works. And I did that for a while. But the truth is, when I did all my pieces, it works better. Like you have to be eating well. You need to be
Yes.
exercise. I mean, I say this like exercise is important, sunlight is important. So I was like, why am I piecemealing my healing? I was
Mhm.
like, do the flower essence. It's not going to interfere. It's only going to help. Go to
Right.
the massage. That's going to help. So at this point, it's like whatever works for people. It may not be what I have to offer, but please, like I really believe too that in the United States it is not about preventative medicine. It's sick care. I mean, we call it health care, but let's be honest, and modern medicine is important and it does save lives, but there is no preventative model
Yeah.
unless you were seeing an alternative therapist. And um, can I share a little story with you?
Please.
I shared this with somebody and they knew exactly what I was talking about. They're like, oh, I've heard that before. I'm like, well, interesting. So, in the different parts of the world, the East, I always get confused. So, the East, we're talking about like China, Japan, that part of the world. Now, I don't know that this is done currently, but historically, families would pay a healer in the village, a medicine person, whatever that was, acupuncture, whatever it is. They would pay them, there was an agreement, like there's 4 people or 6 people in my family, this is what you get paid monthly. Because what was happening is that they would go, whatever it was, weekly or every 2 weeks for preventative medicine.
Hmm.
If it was herbs or acupuncture, they were going for preventative. So they were paying for care. Now, once somebody got sick in the family, that one person didn't pay until they got better. They still got to go for care because
Hmm.
the model was, well, you're coming for prevention. Now you're sick. And it wasn't, I didn't do my job, but oops, you got sick. I'm still going to treat you. And then I'm
Hmm.
going to start getting paid again once.
Sure will.
Yeah. And
That makes
I was
sense.
like, right, like it blew my mind. I'm like, huh? Right. But that just says we believe in preventative care. And
Yes.
we don't have that here. So that's why, like, people like myself and you, what we do is so important. So please, I implore people, find what works for you. Try different things. Don't be afraid to layer,
Yeah.
different modalities. It's only going to help. It's going to bring you deeper into your own healing journey.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah,
I
there's
agree with
something
you
else,
completely. Yeah.
but I lost it. So,
I love the invitation to try different things because, like, to your point, a lot of my work, depending on the work, but usually you could just do 1 or 2 sessions to dip your toe in and see how it goes. And, frequently people will come back and they come back, later for something else, but it's because obviously they felt value, right? Like they were just as skeptical and then they tried and they're like, yeah, I did get results with this and I'm ready to tackle the next thing because we have a lot that we are navigating as human beings and we've already been around for a while. So again, like there's just a lot. And if you can try something for an hour or two and have a drastically improved life experience where you just have like an emotional weight off your shoulders. That's how people frequently describe, at least with me. They're like, yeah, wow, it's really lifted. Why wouldn't you give yourself that gift? You know? Like, yeah. So I love the invitation. Like, just try it. And if you don't like it, now you know it's a thing that doesn't work, at least for this particular thing.
yeah, and it could
Why not?
change. Like it
Yes.
can change if your body shifts. Just
Yes.
like we are, like we don't look the same at 20 as we do at 40. We just
Yes.
don't. There are changes that are happening cellularly.
Yes.
And sometimes the food that we can tolerate or enjoy changes.
Yeah.
So sometimes a healing modality, like sometimes people might say, oh, nah, yoga, blah. But then
Mhm.
like 10 years later, they're like, oh my God, I'm really digging yoga. So
Yes.
go for, right. It's so important to listen to
Yes.
your body, your mind, yes, but more your heart and your body. Like the
Yeah.
mental is the mental going back to the bird cage, like that's where we trap ourselves. Like, what
Yeah.
should I be doing? What did my family want me to do as a profession? What does my partner expect of me? Okay, important to a degree, right? But at the end of the day, like, it's our life, it's our body,
Yeah.
and it can be thrown off if we're not in harmony with ourselves. So if we
Yes.
are, trying to please everybody else, we're ignoring our
You
well-being.
know, I love that you're speaking about this. I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a moment. It's called self-leadership. Like nobody else is an expert on you and what you need, regardless of how well-intentioned, regardless of how much respect you have for them. They're just not going to know. They're not in your body. They maybe if they were inside and they were reading the same map of your internal landscape, they would have the same exact suggestions as what, you would think that they would never agree to, right? Because it's just a very different experience. So it's so critical in every aspect of your life, whatever it is that you might be navigating, to not give away your power. And I think it's such a temptation because it's like, well, I have no idea. I'm lost. I'm not an expert. I don't have time to become an expert. So I'm just going to outsource this to these experts. But the reality is, they're experts in their own narrow lane. And they can definitely help you if you stay really connected to the core of what you're experiencing, but you have to trust your own guiding intuition, signs, signals, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure, Anastasia could probably speak to this. Once you meditate or tune in, once you consistently build that muscle, it starts to feel like a download, meaning the thoughts you're having are not just a random thought, that is guidance, right? Like it is your intuition guiding you. It is because there is a larger consciousness that we're all tapped into. And if we learn how to listen to it, if we learn how to trust it, and the more we build the muscle of trusting it, the more strong that guidance becomes. And it truly does lead to a lot of answers, even in places where we felt that we were being told there's nothing available to us. So to your point, how critical mindset is, how critical it is for us to trust ourselves and really step into that self leadership, even though it might be scary. Because guess what? The only way you become better at doing it is by walking that road. Like that's where you build the experience, that's where you strengthen the muscles, and that's where you start to decipher between what is what, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah,
So,
trusting. I think that I would love, and I feel like this is coming, in the next 5 to 10 years, where these things are taught to children in school. I
yeah,
do see people, I know teachers that bring aromatherapy into the classrooms. They're doing gentle yoga or like meditations with the children.
yes,
But yeah, trusting yourself, listening to your body. Like, I mean, as much as I love watermelon, and I do, not everybody likes watermelon.
yeah.
So it's like, what works for you is so critical. And again, we're in this culture where unfortunately, like, we do want to fit in,
Mm,
we want to be accepted. And so sometimes we're doing things that take us out of balance, because whether it's outside pressure or inside pressure,
yeah,
so, but again, because I've had, so I know we're coming up on time. I do want to just say this quickly. I've had
yeah,
a lot of stuff with my body, like a lot of pain, and not so much injuries, but just a lot of dysfunction, chronic fatigue. I had Lyme disease and I didn't even know it. I had no idea, but I suffered through that and without any kind of treatment. So I do know what pain is, and it is really important again to listen to your body. It's giving you messages, it's giving you messages, and because of all that I've been through, I feel like I can be more present with people, and really, like, when I say I understand, I may have not experienced that exact thing, but I can tap into the pain. I can tap
yeah.
into,
Can you,
yeah.
on that note, Anastasia, I know you're really humble and you're not going to go there, so I'm going to nudge you. Um, First of all, I know that there's so many different ways that people can work with you, including, I know you mentioned the flower essences, where basically it's like a hands-off experience, right?
Yeah.
I know there's another way that you can support people that doesn't require them to be available at any specific time. So I'd love for you to share that. But also, I'd really love for you to share some of the results that people have had. some of the breakthroughs and aha moments that they have had when they've interacted with this work with you.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. I'll address that question first. Have like a few words that I say that people tell me, and they sound very basic, but they're really powerful. People feel lighter, like you had said earlier, a weight has lifted, a mental, emotional, and physical weight.
Yeah.
They feel better and they feel more free in their bodies. So again, that sounds basic, and people are like, "What does that mean?" So imagine you have a pain in your shoulder, and whether it's one session or multiple sessions, it can shift. I can't guarantee, like in this moment, I can't guarantee that it will go away, but there will be a shift. So I do Facebook Lives, and I've done frequency numbers, working with numbers, and this will lead into the way that people can work with me without, like, very little contact. And
Mhm.
I've had people in the comments in a live go, I don't know how this works, but I feel better. One woman, I was like really stunned. She said, I had lower back pain, and when you started speaking the numbers, my pain went away. That's pretty powerful.
Significant.
I've
Yes.
had, like, when I do the dowsing, I used to do a lot in person. I do it online now, but I literally am seeing people's shoulders relax or taking deeper breaths. People say something big just moved out of me. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I have testimonials.
Amazing.
But that kind of is like, just sums it up really simply. And who doesn't want to feel less pain, more
Yes.
movement in their body, more freedom, even in their mind? Like when your mind can go, oh, I don't need to worry about that. Like I can put that down. That's not my stuff. Let me
Yeah.
put that down. But really, like, leave it. Like it's gone, right? Like it's
Yeah.
gone for good, because it was a program, and you bought into the program, and then you just kept running the program. But like imagine, like there's a program on your computer that you're like, all right, it's outdated, let me update. It's like that. Let me get rid of the old. Doesn't work anymore. What are we replacing it with? So the way that people can work with me, there's so many ways, but I have an energetic clearing that people just simply buy. It can be a one-time thing, or you can get four. So I'll send something to you once a week, 4 times. And I do an emotional and energetic clearing. I clear the gunk. That's not technical, it's not a technical term, but I clear the emotions that are being stored. And then I replace with love-based words and frequencies. So it's like clearing, replacing, and then I give people a frequency code. And for the frequency, so the first part, you don't have to tell me what's going on, because I'm literally tuning in to what you need. For the frequency code, you can say, yeah, back pain, or I'm struggling financially, and I will download a code. So that's like super low touch. I've got an ancestral clearing report people can do, same, that don't have to be with me. I can do a dragon healing where they get a Zoom recording and they don't interact with me, if
Hmm.
people want that. But then, yeah.
Awesome. So good. So good, Anastasia. So everybody, please reach out to Anastasia. Anastasia, where can people find you and connect with you?
So, Maria, are you putting links under in the
So you're
comments?
welcome to. I'm going to be
Oh,
putting
okay.
them under the YouTube
Awesome.
video when we post there, but it's going to
Oh,
be a little
nice.
bit. But for this
Nice. Okay.
video, yeah, you
All
can
right.
post this. But just for now, tell them
Yeah.
where they can find you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will leave, I don't know if I'll leave my email. I do have a YouTube channel. I will leave my booking link, and that way you can see everything that I have. And I'll figure out what else. I'm really active on Facebook on my personal page, so you can definitely DM me there. I mean, I can put my email in. That's also another way for people. And there is a lot on my YouTube channel that's free. You can just go in and like listen to stuff and receive a clearing, and like, if
Awesome.
you've heard me talk, but you haven't had the experience. And before you buy something, you might be like, well, let me check it out. So there's stuff on YouTube that you can check out.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for the beautiful work that you do. It's so needed. And everybody do seriously go and check out Anastasia's incredible work because I promise you, and really, I strongly urge you to go ahead and choose something to try with her because she's magical and amazing, and you won't regret it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Maria. I adore you, and
Oh,
I'm so grateful
thanks,
for
you
the
too.
work that you do. Yeah. No, really, yeah. So
Thank
thank you for the opportunity to
Of course.
share and
Yes, of
and
course.
to
Thank
reach
you
more
for your,
folks.
yeah, and thank you for the beautiful work. I mean, I think again, who couldn't use this, right? And the more that you do it, the better you feel. So like, why not? It's like a massage for your soul and your spirit, like an
Yeah,
internal massage.
I call it like a balm for your heart. Like we're hurting in a lot
Mhm.
of ways. There's a lot of hurt and a lot that we're carrying, and I feel like it's a balm. And
Oh, that's such a beautiful way to talk about it. Yes,
yeah.
I like that more.
And I want to say one more thing. I promise
Yeah,
this will be the
please.
last thing. So many years ago, I was going to there's a woman that comes from India. Some people may know of her, Amma or Amachi. She's known as the hugging saint. And there was this man that I met this one, time. She did come to Marlborough and she was here 2 years ago. So she'll probably be back. Um, and he said to me, I was talking to a friend and we were in like a group and he overheard me and he said to me, he goes, you don't know what people are carrying. Number one, like we don't know what they're carrying. I
Yeah,
can feel a lot, like I'm trained now where I can feel quite a bit. But what he said to me, which blew my mind, is he said, you don't know what you're carrying that other people see. So
oh
you might
yeah,
feel like you're like this bright light, and we are. We're all bright lights, but we've got like some clearing to do, to
yeah,
let that light like really shine. So when
yeah,
he said to me, you don't know what you're holding that other people can see. And sometimes people are interacting with you and reacting to you
yeah,
in a particular way. And he said, don't take it personally. There's just stuff that
yeah,
you're holding that needs to be cleared. So don't be upset if somebody kind of has a weird reaction or
yeah,
something, because it's what's in our field that we can't always see. We can't
exactly.
always see.
Yeah. It's just like what we were talking about before, that from inside of our experience, like we have blinders on and we need a guide.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your beautiful work. Thank you for this conversation. And I sincerely hope you all go and check out Anastasia beautiful work and find some way to work with her because she's phenomenal.
Thank you. Thanks, Maria.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Bye for now, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Take care.
Thank you.